Yes, it's time for that Monday night delight. What's up, Flobo After Hours? After Hours happens right here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Twitch. And if you're watching right here, wherever you are, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and that follow button. Every platform does its own thing. But this is a little show that could, episode 50, I have lost count. We've been doing it over a year, so thank you so much for checking it out and making this part of your routine. But as always, I cannot do it without the support of the boisterous crew. That's what we call our Patreon subscribers. So as always, got to give a shout out to Christopher C, Christy H, ACH, Edric P, Oliver E, Princess Leia, Matthew C, Lindsay U, John W, Richard R. You make this show a reality. Well, as you know, I'm never alone for these things because that'd be a weird show, just me talking to you for an hour about what's going on. I do that on so many other different programs. I have a guest, and this guest is somebody I've met so many times. He's actually an inspiration. I was kind of afraid to ask him to be on the show, but he was down to do it. We worked together on the comedy stage. We're doing the content thing. Give it up for the party starter, Darren Carter. How's it going, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know the light thing you do, like the flashlight.
I know.
Yeah, I love it, man. I need something like that. Like when everyone goes, "It's Flobo," I go, "Hey." Yeah, I don't have anything like that.
Yeah, I know. I do run through a lot of batteries though with that flashlight, so there's always that. Yeah.
I always wondered about that. The flashlight in your bed. Did you steal the first one? Was it kind of like it's mine now, security guard? Or
yeah, exactly. Thank you. No, yeah, I think I did actually a police fundraiser, and the cop was like, his name is Daryl. I actually became friends with him. He was good buddies with Eric, or is good buddies with Eric Estrada from Chips.
Oh yeah.
And so it was so cool to meet. I've kind of worked with Eric Estrada over the years here and there, and those guys are tight. And he goes, what'd be really cool is if you use a flashlight. So I took it to the next level, and then after the show, we went to the armory, and he had to buy I don't know what he had to buy some like ammunition or something, and I was like, did they sell those things there? And I actually got like a legit flashlight. Like it was so cool. I've gone through, this is my second one actually, but I'm gonna break it out. It's right over here.
Okay, that's cool. It's funny because speaking of mag lights, I think that's what the cops use. That was the one thing my dad gave me when I left home. Not a Bible, or a knife. He gave me a mag light. You'll need this, son.
Look, yeah, it's great because you carry it in your pocket, and it's like, I always say sun's out, guns out, nights out, lights out.
Hey.
You never know when you need a flashlight. I mean, this thing comes in so handy, and plus, when I do, start the show, I'm like, let's start that party, and then I hit them all that stuff, the motorcycle noises. I'll do them, and then out of nowhere, the light hits them.
Yeah,
it's like that extra, whoa. And I played I've got fortunate to play some big like theaters and arenas, on with other comedians, and man, there's something about even if they're far away, you hit them with that light, there's that connection. It's like, wow, it's kind of cool. It's something.
Your comedy is unique, man, because you do have jokes, you do have bits, and I think the first time I saw you perform was before I did comedy myself. This is back in 2012, and you were working in the Apple bit. About eating apples. Yeah, eating apples really loudly, and I was like, okay. I mean, I had an idea of you, but when I got to be in the comedy, I started comedy in 2014. You had did that your jokes with this party starter thing. It kind of like this convergence. So, how would you describe what you do? What kind of comic are you? Is that a question? That's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore because after being laid off for 18 months. I did do some shows then, but I would say that I kind of combine, and it always sounds boring when you describe it, but I combine personal stories mixed with entertainment and observations, and but it sometimes jokes just I guess I'm like a magnet, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so when you're a magnet, for comedy, in a sense, right. Something will happen in my household or whatever, and I'm like, that's funny, and it's like, bing, it's like it comes to me, for example, my son, he's a musician, he's 13, and he created a YouTube channel 1 year ago yesterday. And it's incredible to see him shoot, edit, make his videos. And then a lot of his videos get like way more views than us. We would love to have those views. And I remember telling him like I go, son, you need to practice, and he was kind of being a little bit ornery. I go, practice makes perfect. And he goes, no, it doesn't. Editing does.
Oh, that's generational right there. He's right.
Yeah. And when he said that,
right.
I was like, dude, I'm writing that down. That's a good joke. Cause it's hilarious. It's like, it's generational. And it's like I said, it's like a magnet. It just came into my life. Like, practice doesn't make perfect, editing does. And in a way, he's kind of right. But
yeah, absolutely. Because my dad was team practice was perfect. Like, what do you know, Pop? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because back then, like even when, let's say typing, they had to use, when people made a mistake, you had to have like the whiteout, or you had to have that paper and make a mistake. But now it's like, you make mistakes all day long.
That
voice
weird
text,
that weird middle process where they had word processors. Where like you would type it and then you hit the print button, it'll do it. Like we had it for 6 months and we wouldn't touch it. It was witchcraft. We're like, wait. You type it and then you print.
I know, it was great. I remember we got that. I remember when we've got my wife and I was telling her, let's get a computer. Like, all my friends have one. Come on, let's get one. Right. And she was like, it takes up too much room, because back then, like the 90s or whatever, like it was, there was like the big tower, then the remember the Apple, the giant like computer monitor and all that, and then the thing on the side, and and it's like it did take up way more room. Now it's like on your phone. I mean, there could be like computers inside, like I hold up another flashlight. A flashlight. Yeah. This isn't even the main flashlight. Yeah, no, this is the main flashlight. See, like that's the main one. Right. This is the backup one in case it gets lost. I have a little label maker on there right there. See,
what the
Darren Carter Pocket Party Podcast.
Yeah, the fact you don't have this for sale, that should be branded right there.
Actually, I do. I don't know if I have them here, but I have little flashlights. Look at this. Check this out. Like, do I have it here? I didn't know you were going to ask this. Can you still see me?
I mean, you're lagging, but it's all good.
Yeah. Oh well, I found the container that holds the batteries. But yeah, I have like these. It's cool. Like I have flashlights that say Pocket Party Podcast. And it's cool. It's something that I like doing, and it's kind of cool to give people a little memento of from the show.
Yeah, speaking of comedy, and we'll get to the podcast in just a second, but I have a quick story about the hustle of Mr. Carter here, or do I say the party planner Dan and Tanner, which is another bit,
yeah. Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah, that's a good classic.
Darren Carter, party starter.
That's something to say. I remember comedy was a weird journey for me. So I got on stage. I won't forget the day, August 10th, 2014. I wasn't the cause of this, but it was the same week Robin Williams had passed away. I was feeling a bit of a connection there. But one of the cool things I liked about you is that even though you had the credits, you had the thing us newbies would just dive for, but you were like on stage everywhere. I would see you at the Comedy Store and Flappers and the Comedy Match the same night with your box of CDs, even if people didn't have CD players. And I always wonder, and I always want to ask you this, does that part stop? Do you go, hey, look, I've been here long enough. I don't need to sell this. Or you're just used to it, or you just realize you have like a fan base. You just want to buy your stuff in person.
It's funny you say that, because like I did a couple shows. I did a show, 2 shows recently at the Haha Cafe, or Comedy Club, I think it's called now. And I didn't bring my merch because I was like, like the pandemic. I don't know. I wasn't in the right mindset of like, I don't know. And then, and then the comics that work there, shout out to Prince Ali. He was like, dude, where's your merch? You don't have merch? Come on, man, let's set it up. And I was like, I don't know. Like, then you're right. I started thinking a little bit negative. I was like, you know what? People really don't have CD players anymore. And they don't really have DVD players anymore. And I'm like, But I did a show last night, and I'm like, you know what? I'm bringing back the merch. So I brought it back. And it was just like, I'm like, you know what? I make it available. If somebody wants to buy something, it's there if they want it. You know what I mean? And in the meantime, I'm still going to hand them a card and lead them back to my YouTube channel, lead them to the podcast. And But listen, I mean, you never know. Like people, when I was at the Laugh Factory on Saturday night, they bought two things, and because they were traveling and they wanted like a souvenir, and
So this is a Flobo fact. Actually,
Yeah.
so for those of you who don't know, I used to do a comedy show at Flappers, or it was at the Neon Venus in Hollywood. When that closed down, I moved over to Flappers, which was a blessing and curse. It was called Ringside Comedy, and you were my first get. Like, you were actually the first comedian. Was like, I'll do your show, whatever. And it was like, oh, we got Darren Carter. So Flobo fact, in my bookcase is the last CD I've ever bought. And that is That Ginger's Crazy. It sits. It's like a museum. It sits on my bookshelf, and people are like, "Don't you mean?" No, that's somebody else. That's Richard Pryor. This is that's how we get. So that's pretty awesome, man. I always like the fact that you helped us out when we started out.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember that, and I think you bought my second CD, or I remember you like you said the Apple. You knew the Apple joke, and I'm like, I'm so proud of that joke, because that was a joke from real life. One night, my wife was watching like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or whatever, one of those housewife shows, and I was eating an apple, and then she's like, "Gosh, you're so loud. Can you like go outside? It's so annoying." Like, and I'm like, "Oh, wow!" And then I realized that I actually went to Flappers that night because it was right here in Burbank, and I kind of told the story about Adam and Eve and the apple and how loud it was, and I just kind of riffed on it, and it turned into like this beautiful, hilarious bit where I spun it into gold, as they say, like something real life that was so relatable. I didn't realize how relatable that is, that people have auditory things where they get mad, like they're mad at their roommates, their spouse, or like, stop scraping that spoon against the bowl, so.
That night I bought that Ginger's Crazy and Stay at Home Stripper, which was your release at the time. So
thank you.
Snoop Lion, baby. Wow.
Yeah. Remember that when he went through that phase of like, wow, Snoop Dogg. And then he was like Snoop Lion doing reggae and stuff. And then, but yeah, it was a fun time to record that, and I probably, a part of me is like, man, I should do another one, because even though people aren't buying CDs, they're definitely, you can make money now through having it played on Sirius XM and all the platforms.
Oh yeah, like, well, I'll get back to it. Not to make this about me, but if I get back to it, I think the strategy will definitely have the album, have the digital, have like USB albums to sell, and then just do like the Pandora stuff. But enough about me and my strategy, because I need jokes first. Let's talk about the podcast, man. Yeah. Pocket Party podcast. What's that about? How'd you get into it? I know podcasts are a dime a dozen, but yours does stick out.
Thank you. Pocket Party Podcast is what it's called, the Pocket Party Podcast. And it's so fun and it's so cool that I appreciate you asking about it. I originally did a podcast back in 2009, 2010, 2011, back then, 2012, somewhere around there. We did it for three years. And I had a partner, and he was from the radio. And so instantly we had like an audience, like it was a small audience, but it was 5,000 people. So in my world, it was like, this is incredible, 5,000 people. But in his world, he's like, man, this is a step down. Like, what's a podcast? Nobody really listens to podcasts. He wanted a job in radio, because you got to remember, this is back then. So it was like 10, 12 years ago. And so we went our separate ways. I didn't do any podcasting for a long time. And then I'm 180 episodes into my current one. I think I started 3 years ago. I think it was April of 2017, I think. But and it was scary at first, because I was used to working with like a partner, and I felt like I was sort of the sidekick before, and now it was a trip to be like the main person. And I'm telling you, it's like that 10,000 hour thing. I've learned how to make, put my stuff on YouTube, do great editing on YouTube, learn how to vlog. I've learned how to like, the other day, my son, his bicycle his pedals were broken. He just duct taped it, and my wife goes, "Can you take it to the bike shop?" So I was like, "Sure." Then I thought, I'm gonna take my camera and just kind of film and figure it out. And I go, "Hey son, you want to go with me?" Next thing you know, we shot this great vlog, and we're showing our adventure, and he's playing his guitar, and we're singing songs, and we're at the bike store, and the guy let us try out these weird bikes that you stand up and you move the thing, and this all came from my idea of like, I want to start a podcast, and I want to, and I'm telling you, if you're a performer or a comedian, what's great about this is you get really comfortable talking to people, asking questions. It breaks you out of your shell if you're that type of person. Like now I'm even more out of my shell. Like when I'm at, I was at the grocery store today at Whole Foods, and I'm just cracking jokes with the guy, or sometimes I'll genuinely like not sometimes, but when I'm, it sounds like sometimes I'm not genuinely, but like
sometimes when I'm fake. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm not being fake, I'm asking questions, but sometimes I really am interested. No, but what I'm saying is like, when about a month ago, I was sitting in my car. My wife was in the grocery store. My son was in the back seat. I'm in the front, just chilling out, listening to the radio. And this car pulls up next to us late night in a parking lot. And this guy comes out and he's putting all this gear on. I think it was like a pesticide type of guy. And then next thing you know, he has he puts a bird on his arm. It was a hawk. And I'm like, wow. Now before I might have just been like, that's interesting. But I think because of vlogging and because of the Pocket Party podcast, I like talking. I've broken out of my shell. I got out of the car and I started talking to him. And I said, hey, do you mind if I do like a quick little 3 to 5 minute video? And he goes, go ahead. And that was great. I got to interview this guy and he talked about how it was called a Harris's hawk. Okay. And he was hired by the city. This is up near Fresno, hired by the city to bring this hawk to scare away like crows, because crows had been destroying like the building and making a giant mess all over the parking lot. And he was telling me all these crazy stories about the Harris. I guess it works. That's why they're paid to do that. And this hawk, apparently, because if you're ever driving through Tucson and you're lucky enough to see this, Harris's hawk do a thing called backstanding, where one bird will stand on the cactus and the other birds, because the ground is so hot, they'll stand on top of the you'll see like almost a totem pole of like birds, like these hawks. And also in the Harris's hawk is what it's called. The woman is twice as big as the man. And, and I so wanted to do a joke because we were right next to the Walmart parking lot. I would be like, hey, I think I've seen this in the human form.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Because I would probably walked away. I'm like, well, that's a cool hawk, whatever. But you have to talk.
Yeah, exactly. I would have been just like back to my phone or something, like, oh, that's interesting. But that's what I'm saying. I was like, you never know what podcasting, what this kind of stuff can lead to. I've done solo episodes. I've done on the Pocket Party podcast. I even tried this one episode. It was, speaking of solo, where I'm like, oh wow, you could basically take this kind of earphone, that kind of has the cord like this. And you plug it into your phone, and you just walk around basically talking to yourself, but you use the recording app on your phone. Yeah. So it was almost like reality radio or reality, because as I'm walking, I'm kind of describing what I'm seeing and I'm telling my thoughts. And so it's a different form of entertainment. And I find that people who do listen to podcasts, because I listen to podcasts, it's almost like you're listening in on a conversation, and there's like a really cool personal touch with that episode, because it's like, wow, like you're going along for the ride with the performer or the podcaster. Yeah, but so and also I've learned, like, just because somebody's a celebrity doesn't mean they're going to be like a great guest. They might just be famous, but sometimes I've had great episodes where I'm like, wow, I never knew that. Like there was a guy I announced one time on stage. I said, somebody goes, what's your podcast? Like, what's the vibe of it? And I said, it's very positive, very little cursing. I try to make it just, I try to, work at the top of our intelligence usually, and just whatever. And very positive. And this guy came up to me after the show and he said, hey, I like the message of your podcast. He said, I was in the United States Army, and, because I've never been on a podcast, but I just did a huge promotion campaign about suicide prevention. And he goes, I'd love to be on if you're looking for guests. And that was a little weird to me, because I that was my first guest that I didn't really know. And wasn't a comedian, because usually it's somebody with a comedy connection of some sort. And I said yes. And that made me nervous, because I was like, ooh, how's this going to go? Like, I had no idea how it was going to go. In fact, I had Fraser Smith, the radio legend Fraser Smith, I said, hey, Fraser, can you be on this episode with me and kind of be my sidekick so I can? And he goes, sure, buddy. And here's what's hilarious. I had forgot that I asked Fraser. And like, oh no. So, yeah. And Fraser was at that time at the Ice House Comedy Club, and he we were going to record at Flappers. So Fraser was late by about, well, not late, but I started the recording, let's say 10 o'clock. Fraser shows up at 11, And so it was perfect. It turned out to be a 2-part interview, and Fraser's on part 2.
Oh,
Not
nice.
part 1, but part 2. But it was great though. That was a great episode, and it wasn't serious at all. Like I was afraid it was going to get too serious, and it wasn't at all. It was great. The guy was, he was telling us about how he joined the military and went to Afghanistan, but the whole build up to it was like, whoa, like it was like I was on the edge of my seat. It was very easy. It wasn't difficult at all.
Who has been the biggest get for your show, in your opinion?
That could be anybody from fame wise. It could be Jamie Kennedy, a huge guest.
Yeah. But for you,
Brody
like
Steve,
forget fame, but like what, something you're like, this is great.
Gosh, there's so many. I was fortunate enough to talk to Brody Stevens. He actually reached out to me the week that he passed away he reached out to me on that Sunday we were supposed to do it that Sunday. And he goes, I'm just not feeling well. And then so I said, let's do it. Let's see how you feel tomorrow. So I called him the next day and he's like, yeah, I'm feeling better. Come on over. And, sadly that was, the last week but it was, it was a great experience, but it's like bittersweet because of what happened. But I was able to, spend 4 hours with him, and it's something I'll never forget. And it's it really touched people. There was a moment in the podcast. I said, Brian, I said, Brody, man, like I know you're battling with depression and you're on the the meds and stuff. I said, but there's something to be said for like exercise, for moving, for and he goes, I know. And so I got him to do some push-ups, and I mean, we filmed it and we had some laughs over it, and we had planned to go on a walk. I said, let's go to either like Runyon Canyon or Griffith Park. Let's go do something. And as he passed away that week, that Thursday. But one of the listeners, and I'll give him a shout out, Tommy Godlove, he messaged me and he said, man, the walk should go on and we should do it in Brody's memory. We should do this. Let's so we made plans. We did it at Griffith Park, and it was on Brody Stevens' birthday of that year. And I wrote Tommy, I said, man, I go, what if nobody shows up, man? I go, that could be, and he goes, there'll be at least 3 people. I go, who? And he goes, me, you, and Brody in spirit. And I was like, damn, okay. But we had probably like 25, 30 people that did the walk, and we all, everyone went around, and they thanks to Tommy, he did little trivia questions about Brody, about being in The Hangover, about his different credits and the fond memories. And then we didn't do it last year because of the pandemic, but then we did it in May. We did it in May at at Reseda Park. That's where Brody was from. So, and we had probably 40 to 50 people show up. Like, it was just, it's growing, and it's all because of our, that episode. That episode was like something that it really boomed, really took off. And that's the thing that I have to remember. We all have to remember when we're creating. Sometimes we're like, you might be like, damn, man, like, how come this isn't taking off like I wanted to, or how come I'm not like at that level where I can, and you realize there's just little victories, man. Just celebrate those little victories. And, Sam Tripoli came on my episode. He came on my podcast. He's been on handful of times. And one of the times it just happened to click at the right time, and it, thousands of people watched it on YouTube, and because of that, it enabled me to get monetized. And you know how that is on YouTube. You have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time.
Not quite there yet. I am researching it heavily though.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you do. I had the 1,000 subscribers. I think I had more than that, but I reached that milestone. But I was always, I don't know if you've looked at your analytics, but there's that little meter that shows you, it's like a gas tank. And I was always like right in the middle, it'd be like right in the middle, like, yeah, you're almost there. You're at 2,500 hours, and then it would drop down the next month. You're almost there. So with Sam Tripoli, it was it was great. It was like 2,800, 2,900. It was like redlining, like 4,000. Congratulations! And then you fill out the paperwork and all that good stuff. So yeah, that was a little victory too with the Pocket Party podcast. Also, and I think you've done this with your Patreon. Like, I set up little avenues for people if they want to hire me on Cameo to do a personal shout out. If they want to, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. Like if as long as you have the things in place, some people will definitely, they show their appreciation, so
I do that. And I also do a buy me a coffee, a little bit more at buymeacoffee.com/FloboBoy. Support the homie.
That's cool, man. See, I need to do what you're doing. You're doing, your stuff looks really good. This is
well, thank you, man. Thank you.
StreamYard. It's so funny. It was like, I don't know, it was like 9:05 or something, and I'm like, I had my coffee ready, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't have any emails from him. I hope he didn't forget. And then you messaged me, and I'm like, oh man, I thought it was like a Zoom link, but see, I still do my stuff on Zoom. You're like next level, man. Like StreamYard.
Zoom is really solid, but it was cool. I could do the whole backgrounds and stuff and run tickers and all that, but. Yeah, I could do one of these things, support myself, Oh, if you want to buy a t-shirt, bam! You know what I mean? Like, I respect cool. Zoom. Zoom was like the 900-pound gorilla. It was like, number one when the pandemic hit. Everyone was on it. And talking about going back to the early times of the pandemic, like the Tiger King era, the certain things we did just to keep morale up. Yeah. I don't know how you took it. Like, they told me that my life was non-essential. But there were certain apps that helped me through, like Zoom and having meetings. What was your experience when everything shut down, when comic clubs closed?
Yeah, man, it definitely messes with your self-esteem unless you don't. Here's one thing that I got positive about it. Like one of the things, I keep a daily list of, I do 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and I write it down and I post it and I talk about it, and it's like. And it's, and I don't care who I bore with it, because I'm going to keep doing it. And it's like, it's one of those things I realize, like, what can we control? And it's like, because there's a lot of things that's out of our control, but can I control doing X amount of sit-ups and push-ups every day? Yes, I can. So that's what I do. I put that out there, and it actually encourages other people, and it pisses people off. They've told me later on, they were like, they really used to irritate me. And then every now and then they come around, they go, and you got me doing it now, and I'm only doing 20, but I'm like, that's cool. And you don't have to do like, and I've had people make fun of me. They're like, dude, 50, I do 200. I'm like, that's great. I do 50, if I do, it's like, because I used to set the number really high, and then I realized, like, I get sore. I think it starts diminishing returns, or I just look at it like, do I really want to commit to doing 300 push-ups and sit-ups? Because it's really, you get really excited the first week, and then I'm like, I can't keep this up, So, but that's one of the things.
Is it sit-ups and push-ups? You like spread them out through the day? How does that work?
No, I started out spreading it out throughout the day, but now I just knock it out. I'll do like 25 and rest, 25 and rest, or the sit-ups I can do all at once. The push-ups I'll do like 30 and then do 20, and that's 50, or I'll do 25, but. Yeah, like I said, that's one of the things that I figured out. I also figured out, like I said, like how to really edit better with iMovie on the Mac. Like, I was so frustrating because you feel like, dang, there's so much. I want to express myself, and I don't know how to do it. And it's like, and then you realize, like, let me just watch some tutorials, figure out how to do it. Simple things. Like, I was like, we're going back a little ways, but I'd be like, how do I put words on a screen? Like, I didn't know how to do things like that. And then you figure, oh, it's very easy once you figure it out, and then I even, I got the link tree, because I kept saying, like, click the link in my bio to go to my podcast. Then I have to swap it out. Click the link to go to my YouTube. Then I realized, just get a link tree that we can have all your links right there. And, it's, we kind of learn from each other. Yeah.
But day to day though, like how was the morale being locked in, finding something to get you out there? Was it the days of depression? Was it the days of I can do this? Like, what was your mix?
Yeah, right around April or May, I think my wife was like, let's take a break from LA, because they're cutting, they're closing everything. They're pouring sand into like skate parks and not letting people, walk around public parks, and shutting golf courses down. I don't golf, but I'm just saying that's how extreme everything was. Like, stay inside, and we're just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like, so so my we started spending way more time up at the farm up near Fresno. That's where my wife was raised. And there we were able to like go for long walks, and I bought a bicycle and ride a bike and just watch eagles fly. And it was like, this is amazing. And that was just, it was great to, like, especially after, spending time in an apartment. It was really nice to go out and like see dogs and cats and like wildlife, bunnies and stuff, like, And but yeah, you're right. There was those days where you're just like, I remember one period where it was like just over 100 degrees, like day after day. It was just hot. I'm out there just, for daily exercise. I'm just walking up and down these farm roads and walking along the canal banks, and just like nothing's out there. And I'm like, man, I feel like a crazy person. Like, just, I had this axe handle for protection, and also extra exercise. I'm just carrying this axe, and I have my straw hat, and I'm like, gosh, like, this is like, because what I forget is comedy for me. It kind of happens around society, like the energy of people. It's like, like it goes bing, 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 bing. There's like energy, and when I see something or just something, there's comedy when it's very peaceful to be around trees and nature, but there's not a lot of comedy in that. Like for me, it's like, it was like, I think if you're an artist and you can watercolor and live in a log cabin, like that's great. But for stand up, it's like, I don't know. There was those, like today I was at Whole Foods, and I saw this lady smoking at the very tippy toe edge of the parking lot. I think because it's illegal to smoke there on the premises, but she was kind of sneaking these cigarettes. And I thought, man, I thought, man, that'd be kind of funny if, like if I said something on stage, like, shout out to the smokers. They're the eyes and ears of the neighborhood. Thank you for your service.
Right.
Because everyone can picture that one nosy neighbor that's like, look at that. Know?
Yeah, I get it. Because if you're in paradise, what's the comedy from that? What's the deal with the perfect serenity? Yeah, I got you.
I know exactly. I know. Right? It's like, I remember, and then I remember coming back into LA, and I went to get the oil changed, and how that you're at the place, and that was where I first saw like all these people trying to like dress up their masks. Remember, like at first it was just a lot of simple masks, and then people started adding flair to it, and so I think I wrote a joke about how like I saw a millennial with a nose piercing on the outside of their mask or whatever, but just but that comes from like seeing people, and when you're looking at like just trees and grass and hay and like
Right. So with everything, I guess, coming back now, what's been like your experience? I see a lot of comics are basically in pre-pandemic form, to say the least. Some are about struggling to get started. I'm in the latter camp myself. What's been your mix?
It was it's great because I'm starting to get like a lot of offers and people. It's just so good to have that again, where they're like, are you available? Da-da, can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, I can't do that date, but what about the next week? Or can we, that feels really good. As far as performance, I remember I did a show a couple months ago, because I'd been, I performed like at clubs. Like I did do, something in February, then something again like 2 weeks later in Texas, and but it was like, like how there's like intermittent fasting. I felt like I was doing intermittent stand-up comedy. It was like oh, I haven't done anything for 90 days, but here we go. That kind of thing. Yeah. But I remember I did something in LA like 2 months ago, and I remember just kind of pulling up. It was outdoors, and I parked my car. And right when I get out of the car, I hear the roar of the crowd that was outside, and these comedians were just crushing it. A lot of them, I think they just kept going during the pandemic. They were doing these underground shows, these illegal shows, these rooftop shows. They were performing in all over LA, and they were so like 10 times stronger. And especially because I kind of approached it like, well, I'm going to go there and rattle the dust off. And these comics were just like, man, like, I was like, ugh. Like,
did you have any trouble getting the dust off? Like, did you know if you were rusty? Like, how did you figure out what worked and what didn't?
I think the audience, I would assume the audience didn't know, but I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I remember my first time headlining, because it's one thing to do like 10, 15 minutes, but when you're someone pays you to fly like, to another state and do like 45, it's like, that first show, I remember in February, I was like, I did more crowd work than I wanted to, like,
right.
And then the next night I was like, oh, because I would just remember parts of bits. I'd be like, dang, I just remember like the last 3 lines. Like, how do I get into it? Or the transition was the hard part. Like, like I don't want to do that again, where you're just like throwing out like just the statements, like, I'm married.
Yeah. That takes me back.
Anyways, my wife hates apples. It's like, yeah, it doesn't. And then and then eventually you just start, and then it comes together and clicks, and then it's just like it comes back pretty quick though, thank God. But yeah, it was like, and now it's like I'm back to I can just riff and be super loose up there and in the moment. And I also, you know what I did interesting recently is I went to a comedy show and I watched pretty much every comedian, and I don't know how you are because you started you said 2014.
Correct. Yeah.
So imagine in the year 2044.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for about 30 years. So it's like, that's what I'm trying to say. So
congrats.
Thank you. My point is it's a little hard for me at this point. I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but to watch an entire comedy show, it's like, I just get too antsy and too like, I don't know. I love watching comics, but I usually like watch them in small doses. It's hard to sit there from beginning to end. But one thing that I learned from watching these comedians from beginning to end, I also learned what I didn't want to be like on stage. And also I realized like what makes someone more engaging with an audience, I feel, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I think for me, I like to microdose it. You know what I mean? You don't want to be disrespectful. You don't like do your bit and be like, all right, see you, Hollywood, because then you'll never get booked again. But like, it's cool to see what is hot in the streets, but I can take only so much of that sponge. And then I have to go, or else that starts to infect what I do. Like, oh, this is what people want. Is that what's good? You know what I mean? So I'll watch a comic here and there, even like on Netflix. You know, I don't know how you feel because I feel like the worst kind of person to say this because I've only been doing comedy 6 years, 8 years. What's math? 8 years now? 7 years? 4, 11, 7 years.
By the way, that sounded so far in the future when I said 2044. You're like,
yeah, I did. I was like, oh crap, we're almost there. But like when I watch Netflix specials, I don't want to be bitter, but then they're not really as special, I guess. I remember when I was a kid, there was like 8 comics that got an hour in HBO. And it was like, take off work Monday because Chris Rock has an album on Saturday. But with albums coming out every week, you're like, well, what makes a special? And I've sit there and I watch things and I go, I don't want to say that's not funny. Where do I get off saying that? But this wasn't the, hey, did you hear this yesterday kind of thing.
It's interesting, man. I don't know because, you know, I went to that show with my son. He's 13 and he's from, you know, the TikTok YouTube generation. And man, and plus, you know, he's younger, so maybe he can't really relate, but I've just realized like stand-up comedy is really, when it's not done well, it's really hard to watch because it's a long time. You know what I mean? Like TikTok or YouTube, it's like, it's pretty quick. You know, it's like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But to watch a stand-up comic on stage for even 15 minutes, it can be an eternity if they're just not your cup of tea, you know? And I wonder, I don't know, you know, like going forward, you know, we're a little older, so we can, you know, because we do remember, like, you know, like you said, like you know, Eddie Murphy and Robin Williams and stuff. But it's like, you know, you wonder, like, someone who's young, like, are they gonna, you know, want to hear someone? I don't know. It's like you just don't know. You know,
you raise a good point because I always go back to one of the greatest comedic performers of all time, Weird Al Yankovic. Right, like this guy is a genius, and I know genius is a word that's overused, but he is a classical genius. Right, I remember his last album, Mandatory Fun, which came out like in 2015, I think. And the reason why he retired, he was like, with parodies coming out the way they are, as fast as they are, it makes no sense to do this 2-year, 3-year wait to do an album. I'm not done performing, but it doesn't make sense to have that structure because things are faster. And I remember this too, because during the pandemic, I wrote my first comedic song. It's called Alone in the Club. And the reason being is that even back then in April of 2020, I go, if I write hand sanitizer jokes now, they are going to be stale in 6 weeks. Because Instagram memes are just a dime a dozen, you know, and it's hard to be fresh. It's hard to create.
What was the name of your song?
Alone in the Club. So this is a little backstory. For those of you guys that haven't heard it, it's available on Spotify and Apple. The idea was that it was in March when they told everyone stay inside, shelter in place. And so I ran to the store and I bought all I could, but I had like $100. I was broke, really. And so all the food I had was like I had the Turkish ramen, not even the Japanese stuff, Turkish ramen, Vienna sausages. My whole place was stacked, but I couldn't eat it all myself because it was gross. I couldn't invite anyone over because it was the coronavirus, and I had all the booze. And so I was like, wow, I'm like a VIP in a club that is not even open yet. So that became the thing. But that took an extra step, an extra layer to make it that subversive. Because if I did a Lysol parody, like, will that be funny in 2021? Probably not. It's just so much faster now.
I know. That's interesting. And it's also interesting that, so let me get this straight. So you thought of an idea, you recorded it, and then you were able to already put it on Spotify and get it out there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it simple? Is it kind of, how hard is it to do that? Like, is it, see, now that you know the process is probably easier and you could do another one and another one, right? Like the first one was maybe a little bit difficult, right? Like,
yeah, well, I self-published my comedy albums and I went one direction. I did like the CD Baby thing, upload the album, all the stuff. And I don't knock CD Baby at all. But the thing is, they want their money up front and then you get your residuals back, right? I use the app United Masters, which allows you to upload for free, and they take 10% of your royalties. I knew I don't get enough streams to even care, really. If I was famous, maybe, but I'm just like, whatever. So I go, okay, I did it for free. I got a beat from Fiverr. I recorded it literally in this closet here, right? It's got in the closet and recorded it there.
Wow,
that's cool. and I uploaded it in the same day. So it's not mastered at all. In fact, it's low. There isn't any bass boost. It's just me rapping about being in this club, and it was so much fun. And it came out my birthday month last year. And it was kind of like, this is my coronavirus song, but it's not about coronavirus. It's about this guy who's breaking into a club at 7:00 in the evening.
Yeah, see, that's good. Rather than just being like, funny with your friends or just doing it for free. Like, hey, here's this wacky Insta story. You've learned how to like, I can do this, this, and this. Get it out there. Is it able? Is it on any like playlists on Spotify or Pandora, or are people discovering it? Is my question. Like, or
people are discovering it. It's obviously not it's not viral. I mean, in that case, but I do see like I'll get a follow a week, or I'll follow every 2 weeks. Be like, I heard your song on this comedy thing. It's actually a Latin pop ballad, the instrumentation of it all. So a lot of times EDM fans or like pool EDM fans will be like, I heard your song. It's pretty funny,
Do you put it in the link on? Do you put it in the link on your YouTube channel? That might be a good idea.
I should
in the description.
Yeah. I have the original and I have the lyric video on the YouTube channel. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So
that's smart.
It's kind of like, how do you present your comedy in different ways? I was just I know you have this with your podcast. I know Q Park has his little videos about him scaring people, but then he has like an actual song. It's just the whole era is gone of being just one thing, and so my job is to be my name on everything for now.
Yeah. I eventually I want my son to record, because he writes also original songs, and before I forget, his latest original is called Summer Vacation, and it's really good. It's talk about someone who's talking from their heart. He's 13. It was the last day of school, and he'd been working on this song, and it's perfect. It's like, it's the perfect song a 13-year-old should sing about, like summer vacation. It's across the, it's great. It's like, it's perfect. You know what I mean? He's not trying to be like, I'm up in the club. It's like, dude, you're 13. Like,
right.
Yeah. Summer Vacation. His name is Os the Bass Boss.
Oh, I love it.
All one word, Os the Bass Boss. But here's what I was going to tell you before I forget. Since you're also a Weird Al Yankovic fan, I'll give you a little bit of Darren Carter trivia. I am in two, not one, but two Weird Al Yankovic videos.
You being white nerdy, that would make my day if you were white nerdy.
I'm in white nerdy.
You are? What?
No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm not in white nerdy. I'm sorry. I'm not. You know what? I wish I was. I look like I am. I personally am white and nerdy. Like in the video.
I said white nerdy, turned around. Yes. You rang.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. Casting. No, I swear to you, I really. There's a video called "All About the Pentiums." Remember the "All About the Pentiums"?
Yes, baby.
So I'm wearing glasses like this. I have red hair, and I'm like, and I'm dancing. I'm in the mosh pit. They zoom in on me. I have Alka-Seltzer pouring out of my mouth. Where I'm like, you're
the Alka-Seltzer guy.
Yeah, I mean, all about the Pentiums. Yeah.
I wish we could look it all printed out of my bed sheets. I think a Commodore 64 is really neato. What?
I'm gonna see.
I saw him live, man. Best concert I've ever been to.
He's so good, right? He's so good.
He had the Philharmonic with him, the one at the Hollywood Bowl. But what's the other video?
I'm also in the the Star Wars video. I forget what it's called. It's a
Saga continues.
long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
one is a little bit hard to
LT
recognize
fun.
me because I have like pipe cleaners in the costume, but I'm like doing the robot dance and all this kind of stuff, and but I'm in that. There's a bunch of comics in that one. I forget who, but like, yeah, that was another great one. But and listen, Weird Al is so cool. My son's a huge Weird Al fan, and we went one morning. We went all the way down to Irvine when my son was about 5 or 6, and we met Weird Al at the book signing, and he took photos and was just so kind and sweet, man. And it was great,
Yeah,
He's Weird Al is great.
What I like about him is that his fan club was called like Close Personal Friends of Al, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Not just a fan club.
That's cool.
It was like,
yeah.
I remember saving up money that era in the late 90s where it was like Running with Scissors and Poodle Hat. Holy crap!
So there he is.
That's Weird Al.
There he is meeting my son when my son was 6 years old. My son brought his accordion.
Yeah, I'm about to say
that
was an accordion. Yeah, I was like, is that accordion? Yeah, so cool, man.
Oh, and this is cool. Here I am meeting Weird Al. Like I think I captioned this where, sorry, Al, I have to tweet right now.
Does he know who you are?
I'm looking at my phone.
Is he like, you're the Bennies guy?
I don't. I think he did then. I don't remember, but I know I saw him another time, and he was so nice, and he's like, yeah, you're one of the hits of the video. Everyone loved you, and blah blah blah, and the Pentium one,
That is crazy. I didn't realize. Wow, full circle, man. That's crazy.
I was also in the Thong song, but you don't want to know about that. No.
Maybe I did.
I'm joking.
Is it OnlyFans? Click on my OnlyFans and find out my Thong song appearance. Cisco singing about me, folks. Dude.
I start a party, and it's not with the flashlight, if you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh, Darren Carter, the party starter. We got to get out of here, but before we do you want to play a game, good sir? Please say yes. If you say no, it's awkward.
Yes, let's play this. Let's play this game. Yeah, yes, I do.
This was a classic. It's called Favorite Things. I'm going to ask you some questions about your favorite things on the planet. Just let me know what you feel. Seriously, people know.
Yes, let's do it.
Cool. Favorite concert you've been to?
I will say, gosh, it's a tie between Kid Rock at Universal Amphitheater. That I got to say Kid Rock because I got to go backstage, hang out with Kid Rock. They had a piano. He did like music for like just the people backstage, like 20 of us. It was awesome. But also Weird Al's great. I mean, Weird Al, you can't go wrong with Weird Al.
Oh yeah. Favorite way to spend a Saturday afternoon?
Probably exercising with my family, going for a nice hike or a nice walk. Yeah, that would be it. I enjoy lots of things, but that's one of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, Saturday afternoons, man. I usually sit with a beer. That's the opposite. Favorite thing you collect?
Favorite thing I collect. I love chess. So anything to do with chess and I can collect it, I will collect it. Right now,
the game or the movie?
Collection. The game, yeah, not the movie, but the game, yeah. The movie chess, too much sex, man. It was no. No, but I collect chess socks. If I can find chess socks, like footwear, I love it. I feel like it gives me good luck on stage, but it's a little hard to find these days. Chess socks. You
mean like Chess King or like pictures of like rooks and knights and stuff?
Yeah, rooks, knights, bishops, the whole thing, pawns, kings, queens. I love it, man. I wear chess socks. It's I'm getting kind of low in my chess sock collection because we got to throw out the socks that don't quite fit anymore. That they get worn out around, stretched out around my giant calves.
Oh yeah, you've been working out, man. Those hips and push-ups. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite venue to perform?
Favorite venue to perform? Gosh, there's so many. A venue that has good acoustics, good air conditioning, a good place to set up that merch table.
So about that, I remember when you were performing in the Yoo-Hoo room at Flappers. So if you've been to Flappers Comedy, there's a big room called the main room, and there's a side room called the Yoo-Hoo room. I remember when you were doing one of our shows, you did multiple times, where you made a point to say, "Hey man, put the AC on, bro, because if it's too warm, they can get too relaxed. I don't like that. Yeah. I want them laughing and uncomfortable." And I was like, laughing and uncomfortable? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, the air conditioning.
Yeah, because if it's too warm, they get comfortable and they just get drowsy, and then the energy's like, and they'll be yawning right in your face, man. You'll be hitting a punchline, they'll be like, and so you want them cold where they're like, I heard that like David Letterman likes it like 55 degrees or something. Like it was, like 55 degrees. It was cold in that place because the energy is, so good, much better when the audience is cold.
You don't even know how much of a masterclass you were to be on our show. Like, okay, cold air. I love it. I'm just taking notes. What's been a favorite thing a fan has done for you?
Man, so many over the years. You know what? The one that I can think of the most recent was somebody had mailed me a giant flashlight for my comedy show, like a giant like this, and it has like a disco ball and he's like, yeah, have fun with it. You could, whatever. So it was right before the pandemic, so I've only taken it on the road a few times, but it was kind of cool just to get like a gift from somebody. I think that'd be. I'm probably there's probably more, but that's the first one that came to mind. So I apologize if other fans have done things. I apologize.
I can tell you after tonight, you're gonna get a lot of chest socks, guaranteed.
I'll take them. Yeah.
What's a favorite fandom of yours? Sports, Harry Potter? I don't know. F1.
Gosh, I don't think I have one. Maybe lately I joined a boxing gym, so I really can appreciate boxers and like what they go through, and UFC as well. But that kind of thing. Just I think even if we aspire to be at that level of physical fitness, it'll be good for us because we probably won't reach it, but at least we'll be on the right track.
Yeah, I got 3 more for you. Favorite comedy album?
Favorite comedy album? Ooh, I want to say anything by. No, my favorite. I was going to say George Carlin, but my favorite would probably be that first comedy album that Eddie Murphy had, the one where he had the flower behind his ear, because that was one that just spoke to me, man. Like I was a teenager, and it was just so funny, and it's probably what got me into stand-up because I would repeat some of his jokes, and I loved it. Favorite comedy album of yours? The Party Continues, my most recent one. I'd say, because I think it's probably the closest to where I'm at now in my life. Like the first one was great because it was my first one, and it was really my young life. I talked about growing up a lot. And then That Ginger's Crazy, that was the one that I didn't know that I was going to record an album, so I made it like extra long. But looking back, it's way dirtier than I would. There's some dirtier bits, but it was fun. Like even the audience interaction. Where I had that lady singing my, dirty songs and stuff. But and then I really liked the Stay-at-Home Stripper. I wish I would have changed the name because it sounds like it's dirty, but it's not. And then, in fact, when I was in Florida, they wouldn't even let me hold it up because it was morning TV, and they said it had the word stripper on it, and that this is a family show. And I'm like, dang it,
oh man, that sucks. And
I know.
And lastly, favorite city to unwind in.
Favorite city to unwind in? Oh, I would say, I know this is so stupid, but I mean, I spent a lot of time up north in Hanford, so maybe Hanford, California, believe it or not, because there's not a lot going on. I mean, it's bad when the people hire a hawk to chase out the crows. I mean, that's a mellow town where that's one of their bigger problems.
Hanford, California, outside the Kingdom of Fresno. Make sure you visit.
The Kingdom of Fresno. And I don't even know if I like that answer because it's really not. I don't know, man. It's gosh, I don't know. Burbank? No, but like, people say I probably should say like Yosemite or Paris or something. But
no, whatever floats your boat.
To be honest, what was the question? Because I don't feel like I don't even want to relax anymore. I want to get back to work.
Favorite city unwinded, man. I'm a Vegas guy.
Can you?
Because I'm.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I should have said Vegas, but that'd be funny. Like after a pandemic, or where do you like to unwind? And I just like to stay home. Actually, after all this,
I got my own gym in the back. It's great.
I know. I did a podcast about 5 months ago, and the one of the hosts had never met me or really heard of me, and it was funny. At one point, he was like, the main guy did, but his sidekick didn't, and the sidekick was like. This is like 5 months ago. And he goes, so what do you have coming up next? And I was like, I have no idea. None of us know what's coming up next. How would I know?
Right, another shutdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you have a bit. I like my women, like I like my blank, and you have everyone to interact with. I love it because it's reliable. And has there ever been like times you've been absolutely stumped when someone's like, I like my business card? You're just like, what?
Oh yeah. Especially if I'm not like alert, I'm like, oh, so, and it's okay to like miss on a couple, but I just don't like it when it's like, if it gets like 3 in a row where I can't think of, and then it's just stupid,
Right.
Yeah, like for business card, I would probably say like my woman like my business card. I'd be like cheap and from the internet, or like on my windshield when I go back to my car. Or just hey, let's practice. I haven't done these in a while. Let's practice. Can we do some? Okay.
I
like my. I'll start. I'll go. I like my women. That's right, ladies. I like my women like I like my
microphone
with the off switch.
Oh.
And easy to turn on. Yeah. I like my women like I like my
amusement park.
See right there, I'm stumped. I would say I'm open when I provide a pass. I don't know.
You made it dirtier. What?
I know exactly.
I'll do an easy one. All
right. Fun to ride. I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. I like my women like I like my women like I like my dog begging for a bone. Yeah. All right, we'll do last one. I like my women like I like my
Grammy.
I like my women like I like my Grammy. Ooh, coming once a year.
My work here is done. I'll see you 2000.
That's right, folks. Good night. Let's shut it down.
I love it.
Shut it down. I turned the light.
She divorced me, guys. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I know.
Darren Carter, the party starter. So glad you're here on Wassup Flobo After Hours. But people want to follow you and stalk you and buy your merch and see you live. How do they go about doing that?
Thank you. They would just go to either DarrenCarter.com, but most likely just hit me up on Instagram, official Darren Carter. Follow me on Instagram, official Darren Carter, and YouTube, Darren Carter on YouTube. And yes, it's called the Pocket Party Podcast. Thank you for having me on. I hope to see you in person soon. And let's do many, many more shows. And how many episodes have you done of this?
After Hours, I'm in like the mid 50s, I think 56, 57 ish. New Amsterdam is at 112. It's a thing. The pandemic has given me a lot of time to do this. Nice.
Well, keep it going, keep pushing, and I wish you a lot of success.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot coming from you, and I mean that. But until next week, After Hours are closed.